Good afternoon, this is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding, here to discuss the basics of what happens when you want to move overseas and you want to bring your U.S. retirement with you. It's easy when you're in the U.S. and you're moving retirement accounts around in qualified plans. Maybe you changed employers, or now you've gone into retirement and you want to move your 401k to an IRA or vice versa, or some formation of that. It's what's referred to as a rollover. Rollover is generally not taxable. You look at your tax return when you have the section that says pension distribution, maybe it says $300,000. If the rollover amount is that same amount, you're not going to get taxed on it, so it's not a taxable event. The distinction would be if you're moving your U.S. money, your retirement, overseas into a retirement account. Well, that may not qualify as a qualified rollover, and that can become a taxable event. In addition, once you start moving money overseas, well, now you've jumped into the international reporting matrix, right? It's not a fun place to be. When you have a U.S. retirement account that has foreign assets in it, you don't have to segregate those assets and report them on things like the FBAR and FATCA. But when you actually have a foreign retirement account, I don't know, CPF, Australian Super, personal pension plan overseas, well, those are reportable. And depending on whether it's a treaty country, depending on whether there are funds, which there normally are, in those retirement accounts, then you have various different reporting requirements, FBAR, FATCA, Form 3520, possibly 8621. So why don't we go through a little bit of information here. So the key issue to consider when you're moving your retirement account overseas is whether or not it will be qualified. Depending on what country, if there's a treaty with that country and it has like a robust pension section, sort of like the UK, you might want to reach out to certain providers before you initiate the transfer to see if there's some rollover. Maybe they have maybe they have a foreign branch from like a Vanguard foreign branch of Fidelity or something, Schwab, where they can facilitate that type of rollover and you wouldn't be taxed. But for the most part, you will, and it becomes a taxable event. So if you're going to do it, maybe don't do it all in one fell swoop, but that may defeat the purpose. Things to consider. You may be able to make a treaty election when you are overseas, depending if you want to be treated as a foreign person or if you're no longer a U.S. person, maybe you're here, a substantial presence test, or lawful permanent resident, you don't have that status anymore. You will start filing a W-8-BEN instead of a W-9, depending on if there's a treaty or not, and depending on what the treaty provides, you may be able to reduce or eliminate the withholding. Now, let's say you've moved that money overseas. So you've got it into a foreign retirement account. Maybe you weren't taxed. Maybe it qualified as rollover. Maybe it didn't. Now you've got all the headaches of reporting a foreign financial account. Foreign financial account does not just mean bank account. It means investment accounts, stock accounts, securities accounts, foreign pension accounts. In fact, if you look at the new March 2022 updated FBAR publication, I think it's 5569, it specifically provides that things such as RRSPs in Canada, those are considered reportable as pension. Noting the RRSP is not reportable for Form 3520. There's a revenue procedure. It's escaping me off the top of my head. I think it's 2014-55 or something like that. That basically says RISPs and RIFs and things of that nature are not reportable for 3520. But if you have a foreign retirement account, then you may have to do the FBAR, Foreign Bank and Financial Account Reporting, Form 8938, Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. You may have to do Form 3520, which can get very complicated, 3520, 3520-A. But there is a revenue procedure, 2020-17, that may eliminate the need to do that if it qualifies under those factors. 8621 is used to report PFICs, which would include ETFs and other foreign mutual funds and other types of pooled funds. But typically, if you have your pension in a treaty country, then you don't have to do the 8621, but it's a little more complicated than that. There's also a recent notice 2022-36, which came out very recently. And as long as you file certain forms by September 30th, 2022 for tax years 19 and 20 only, you can escape penalties. So in case you're filing a 3520 or you're self-employed, maybe you have a 5471 wedged in there somewhere, something to consider. If you've already moved it over there, you're out of compliance for prior years, you've done the research, you don't know what to do, it's not that bad. Don't let anyone fearmonger you. There's various amnesty programs, voluntary disclosure program, VDP, if you're willful or just can't certify under penalty of perjury that you're non-willful. Otherwise, there's various non-willful programs available. There's the streamlined procedures, there's reasonable cause, and there's delinquency procedures. We have lots of free information available on our main website and our sub-website. You can always reach out and schedule a reduced fee initial consultation if you think it's appropriate and it's something that we handle here. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.